What do we got?
Okay, so I asked for some suggestions from you, and you're like, the Atlantic puffin. I'm like, I just did that
Yeah.
3 weeks ago with Lampy. And then
Mm-hmm.
you were like, the Philippines eagles. Like, oh, I did that a while ago. They were great. The harpy eagle. Oh, that was one of my Halloween spectacular ones. And then like a falcon. Well, like I just did the merlin like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, but those are all big, powerful birds of prey. So I'm like, well, I want to keep that theme going. So I picked a bird that is dominant,
Mm-hmm.
aggressive, has outperformed almost every other bird on the planet. They are at the
Ooh.
top of the chain and they are unstoppable.
Yeah.
What is this powerful, unstoppable bird that I'm talking about? I, of course, am talking about the house sparrow.
Oh, look at the little bean. What a little
Yes,
terror. I love him.
the little house sparrow is a terror. Oh, wait, I got a weird thing. Hold on a second. Got a little thing in the middle of the screen. That's the video ninja from my last guest. That's got to go away. Anyway,
Uh,
house sparrow. Yes, the house
yeah.
sparrow, a in North and South America and Australia,
Mhm.
a very very invasive species. They are everywhere. They are the well. Let's get on to the next thing. But I mean, look at okay. But there's also one fun little fact about this bird of the day. One thing about this bird of the day that is very special.
Mhm.
Every single image that you see in this one, I took myself.
Oh,
This one is
that's
100%
so
photos taken by Twig.
yay.
Yes. Man, I
They're
got some
really
pretty good definition. These are pretty good shots. The one on
Mhm.
the right, little female. So as you can see, so those two birds look pretty different. Well, of course, on the left we have a male, and on the right we have a
Yeah.
female.
Mhm.
Yeah, the little female sitting on my air conditioner with my work wagon behind her, up
Mm,
upside down because it collects rain, and I don't want it to collect rain.
yeah. Mhm.
All right. Well, let me tell you a little bit about it. They're
Mhm.
5.5 to 7.1 inches long with a 7.5 to 9.8 inch wingspan. Which, when you see they're like laying down with their wings splayed out, wow, that's like, wow, their wingspan's pretty big.
Yeah,
Like,
that's impressive actually.
because it's just like, well, 7.1 inches seems kind of big, but you got to figure that's from beak till the very tip of the tail. I mean,
Mhm.
these are small little guys. They're just small
Mhm.
little guys. So
Yeah.
small, so small.
I was gonna make a joke, but I can't do that on Twitch.
Yes. But yeah, they only weigh they weigh about an average of 1 ounce, down to 0.85 up to 1.39, so pretty small. The females tend to be a little bit smaller than the males by about 10% on average. They're not super long lived, living about 2 to 5 years, which is, that's typical for a small little passerine bird like these guys. But the
Mhm.
oldest, there was a female that was banded in Texas that lived to be 15 years old, which
Ooh.
means that, yeah, they have about a 15-year lifespan, but it's a dangerous world out there for a little bird. There's
Mhm.
uh there's a lot of predators out there that like to make
Yeah.
a little house sparrow a snack.
Mhm.
Everything from, you know, weasels and stoats to foxes to bigger birds. Honestly, bigger birds are their biggest threat.
Yeah.
The ominous pink box. Okay, you're wondering. So one thing I was going to say is that these guys are the most widespread bird on the planet that is widespread wild bird on the planet. They are found on every continent except for Antarctica.
Mhm.
Everywhere, from, most of Eurasia. And so the green area is where they are native. The yellow areas are where they are invasive, which, as you can see, that's a lot of area of invasive. Oddly enough, they've stayed out of most of Africa, but they do hang out in the southern tip there. But I mean,
Yeah.
pretty much the entire United States, Mexico, not all of Mexico,
Mhm.
most of Mexico. I guess they don't like Cancun. Apparently, sparrows don't like Cancun. I don't know why.
Mhm.
Um, is there a reason why they aren't in China? I don't know. Maybe there's just data, and the Chinese government is saying we don't have sparrows here. I mean, it might have
Mhm.
to do with the mountains surrounding it, but yeah, I don't know why they're not so much in China. I could not tell you that. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I know that they can cause big problems because they are an invasive species and they're a very successful invasive species. But they're like one of the most invasive in the world because, like I said, they're goddamn everywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting. Sparrows are in, like, the most passerine of all passerines when it comes to taxonomy. Order, pasture farms. Family, passeridae. Species, passer. So they're like passer, passer, passer,
Yeah.
down to their
Mhm.
genus. And it's also funny that they're called domesticus because they're not domesticated. You
Yeah.
can like they can do okay in captivity. They don't do
Mhm.
great, but usually they're not kept in captivity because they're just kind of like, who wants just like a normal brown bird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although the brown on them is very pretty.
Oh yeah, I mean some great textures. I mean look at her. She's got some beautiful
Yeah.
patterning on her. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're pretty, but they're pretty little birds. Pretty little
Yeah.
birds.
I love them a lot.
But yeah, chances
Small
are, if you're
partridges.
watching this stream, there are house sparrows in your neighborhood. This is, if you're seeing birds around your house, good chance it's these guys. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly, Diefed. Why keep them inside if you could just look outside and see them? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is one of my favorite pictures that I took. This
Mhm.
is a little
Oh,
fledgling. Just zoomed in on there. I saw him peeking out one day, and I got my camera and zoomed in. And just look at that little guy just poking out.
waiting for his moment to
Yeah,
strike.
this little guy here, I'm guessing was probably about 2 to 3 weeks old when I took this picture.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's just sitting there waiting for mom to come back, and yeah, exactly, Hasio. He's got that face.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is a nest box that I made myself, and they like nest boxes. That's their favorite place to nest. They want
Yeah.
a nice, secure, enclosed area with a single entrance. They feel nice and safe and secure in there. That's what they like. That's what they like. So man-made structures are kind of their favorite, but they'll find any kind of little enclosed space they can wherever they can. So sometimes that is natural, but they've adapted very well to humans.
Mhm.
But once they've established a nest, they become very defensive and they don't want other birds
Yeah.
nearby. They will attack and ward off any other ones, even if it's like members of their same flock, because they do flock up. But
Yeah.
during nesting season, so most of the year they hang out together. But when they're making their babies, they split off and kind of get their own territories.
Yeah.
And they're very defensive and will chase off anyone else that they can.
Mhm.
They're going to lay 4 to 5 eggs per clutch, and they're going to do 2 or 3 clutches per year. So, they could have up to 15 babies.
Yeah. That's a lot of
And
babies.
3 or 4 of them will survive to adulthood.
Oh,
Because
that's sad.
it's a dangerous world out there for a little baby bird. And that's just the way it
Yeah.
is. The female does pretty much all the incubating. She grows those special feathers that help her incubate. While the male hangs out near the nest and protects it and brings her food. But once the babies are born, both parents are going to go find food and bring it to the nest. So
Yeah.
pretty good dads. Pretty good dads. Yep.
Yeah.
But one thing that is funny is that the males are very frequently not you are not the father. Because it turns out that, like, when it's, like, before, once the nests are made and they're ready to lay eggs, oh boy, is there a lot of sleeping around. A male is going to go and try and sleep with every single female she can, and the females are often quite receptive to that. So they will pair up, and they will only pair for a season. So they are not monogamous, they don't mate for life or anything like that. But they'll pair up for a season, and the male will, like, take care of his lady, but he's going to go out and sleep with other ladies. Meanwhile, while he's out sleeping with other ladies, she's going to have some gentleman callers herself. And they actually found that in about 85% of nests, that the male is not the biological father of the babies that he's raising.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah. But, he still does a good job. He's not the stepdad. He's the dad that stepped up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, I said that they are the most widespread bird in the world, but they are the second most populous wild bird. The red-billed quelea, which lives in Africa, has about an estimated population of about 2.5 billion. Whereas these guys have about 1.4 billion population. That's a lot of birds. Yeah. Now, the most heavily populated birds on the planet that are not wild are obviously the domesticated chicken. Like, birds that we raise to eat. Those are the most populous birds in the world. But as far as
Yeah.
wild birds go, it's two little passerines, the Quelea and the Sparrow,
Hmm.
hanging around there. And yeah, part of why they've been so successful is that they're very good at living around humans. I mean, how many
Yeah.
times you've been sitting at an outside cafe on a nice day, and the sparrows are just bouncing around the tables, just
Hmm.
very little
Yeah.
fear of humans. They've really gotten to a point where like they are not afraid of humans. I mean, they
Hmm.
are, but not as much as some other birds. They'll it
Yeah, they're
depends on
not
where they are,
invasive. Yeah.
And yeah, they can eat a pretty wide variety of foods. So they'll often eat like human food if they can find it, but for the most
Yeah.
part, they are mostly vegetarian, preferring seeds and nuts and stuff like that. You
Hmm.
just you buy that cheap bird seed that's just those little small round little pellet things. They'll
Yeah.
devour a bird feeder of that in a day. Trust me, I know.
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
like that, but they do also occasionally eat insects. They, little bugs. If they see like a little bug on the ground, they'll nab that up for a little extra protein. And they actually seek out
Yeah.
bugs to feed to their newborn babies because newborn babies need more. They need more protein. Grow up, be big and
Hmm.
strong.
Yeah.
Um, they're very tidy birds, and they really like taking dust baths. If you got some really fine grain particulates like sand and dust and stuff, oh, they love taking baths in that stuff. But as you can see in the picture to the right, they like a good old-fashioned water bath too. This guy's looking at me like, yeah, that's right. I'm gonna take a bath in your bird bath. What are you gonna do about it? It's kind of got that smug look.
Hmm.
Now, when it comes to ornithology and studying birds, this is the most studied bird ever. There's been
Yeah.
over 5,000 scientific studies about birds that use sparrows as their subject. That's
Hmm.
that's a lot. That's a lot of studies. So we really sometimes I go to the Wikipedia page when I'm trying to just start my initial research. That's one of my many sources. Wikipedia is useful for getting into simple stuff, but a lot of times it's a pretty short article. Oh my god, the article on these guys was so long because there's so much information. There's so much
Yeah.
information about them. Lots of stuff. One thing that is interesting is that they do flock up when they're not in mating season.
Mhm.
But you notice that the males have that little black spot underneath their under their beak. Well, this
Yeah.
guy on the right here is pretty low in the pecking order. And if I go back to the first slide, I mean, look at the black spot on that guy. Much bigger. He's a more dominant male.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
So the bigger the black spot typically means that they're older, stronger, and tougher and are going to be at the top of the pecking order. And it
Yeah.
literally is a pecking order. Like the ones at the top of it will like hold down the lesser ones and peck them into submission.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen it happen in my backyard. It's
Hmm.
like, Jesus Christ, what are those poor birds doing to each other? It's pretty
Yeah.
rough.
Hmm.
It's pretty rough. Ah. But yeah, the black spot. The bigger the black spot, the more likely they are to be the dominant male in their flock.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I thought that was interesting is that depictions of these guys go back all the way to ancient Greece, and apparently a lot of depictions of Aphrodite. She has sparrows around her. The sparrow is Aphrodite's bird. I didn't know that, and maybe it's
Yeah.
because they're so populous and are often seen copulating with each other, which I do have a few pictures on my hard drive of sparrows copulating. I swear I was just
Uh-huh.
trying to take a picture of her on there, and then they started going at it. I'm like, oh god. Well, I guess I have to take the
Really
picture.
outing yourself on stream.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Maybe it's a little too much. It's a
that's
nature
so.
documentary. It's nature.
Uh-huh. That's why you keep it on your hard drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
For documentation purposes.
Mhm. But the state of Delhi in India also decided to make them the state bird. So
Hmm.
that's neat. And I mean, there's like cultural references. I mean, they're just everywhere. I mean,
Oh yeah.
when you're a bird that's so ubiquitous across the world, you're gonna find them in all sorts of things.
Yeah.
What else? What else can you say?
Mhm.
They're a bird of the times.
Yeah. And they do have very striking plumages as well. Like
Yep.
their markings and their patterns and stuff are lovely.
And a very recognizable song too. If I'm walking, I can hear a sparrow call and be like, "Oh, there's a sparrow nearby."
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So what are my thoughts? Well, I mean, it's hard to not be fond of them. If I'm gonna go to my backyard and just sit down and chill,
Yeah.
these are the guys that keep me company. How can I not like them? They're just cute, nice little guys.
They're just soft little friends.
Yeah, they're just little friends. I mean,
Mhm.
are they the coolest birds? No. Are they the prettiest birds? No. But they're just cute little guys, and how can you not but feel heartwarmed when you see a little sparrow nearby?
Yeah.
I'm
My
guessing you
brain
see.
did not hear the word heartwarmed. It heard heartwormed, and I was like, "Oh, that's not."
They might have heartworm as well. It's hard to say. It's
I
hard to
mean,
say.
yeah, that's tragic, but we're gonna gloss over that.
Ah,
Just appreciate how cute they are.
I mean, they're super cute. Super cute.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess there's really not too much more to say. They're cute little birds. We love them. They're everywhere. Everybody has seen them. It's a
Yeah.
bird of the day that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah.
So I guess we should get back to the studio and call this bird of the day done.
All right.